Hello and welcome back. So, in the last video we took the guitar apart, we cut out the neck, and so we're going to continue where we left off. And that is, the neck looks like this now, and as you can see, this is no way to put a neck in. So we're just gonna fix up the edges of this neck, and then we're gonna strip the paint off and smooth it out and make it look nice and neat, like a proper neck blank. Let's get going. So at first I was gonna take my router and I was just gonna put it on here and try to use the bearing to cut around. But I realized that it's a bit too wobbly and that there's a lot of unnecessary work involved in that. So I'm just going to take my Japanese razor blade saw and I'm just going to line it up with the neck, and I'm just going to cut along the neck like that all the way down, or maybe not all the way. I'll leave a bit because I don't need this depth for the new body. And I'll do that on both sides, and then I'll come back and show you what I got. Okay, so as you can probably see, the neck goes in an angle. And I'm going to try to keep that angle as much as I can, because then I don't have to do any math and figure out the angle myself, which, I mean, isn't very hard to do, but if you don't have to think, you know, then you don't have to think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this line here and do my marks. Now, I'm temporarily going to put in 20 mil because that is roughly 2/3 of the body. So it will go in somewhere around there. It will lose some of it afterwards because I'm going to sand and mold this more, but it's a good place to start. So now I've made 2 marks. And so now I can line up a ruler with those 2 marks. And there I have my line that I'm going to cut. And we'll see what happens afterward. Just a quick side note before I start cutting it down. Here you can actually see the 2 woods, the body wood coming in on one side and the neck wood, because I haven't planed down the thickness there as much as I have here. And if the neck is made of mahogany and the body is made of mahogany, why is it clearly 2 different kinds of wood? Right? You can clearly see here. Now, I think that the neck is the one that is made out of mahogany, but, you know, either the body is made of mahogany or the neck is made of mahogany. You can choose for yourself what you believe, but yeah, look at that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this through my planer down to this line. And the reason why I'm doing that is because that's a very easy way for me to keep this square so that the bottom is as thick on both sides. Now, the machine isn't plugged in yet. I'm just showing you what I'm going to do. I'll set this up so that my fingers can't get in between. And then I'll just run this part over and over again until it's down there. And once I'm done, I'll come back to you. But now you basically know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just quickly show you something that happened while I was planing. And that is, I don't know if you can see this, but here it's just basically falling off like that. And what that means is that they didn't really glue in the end of the neck, which is like a really lousy thing to do. Like, such a sloppy work. I can just stick in a tool and break it away. You see how how neatly it goes off. I mean, it's kind of good for me right now because I'm taking this off, but it's no wonder that the guitar didn't sound well when it didn't even was really glued into the neck pocket. Like, you have to get a really solid and nice connection for sustain to be a thing. And thinking about this guitar more and more, I think the sustain was the real issue, that it had terrible sustain. And I know that if you watched the first video, you might have been like, oh, I couldn't really hear anything. And that the problem was that it's a question of how it sounds live, and live it just sounds so much worse than it did in video. Did you see how I can't really show you how easily this would just fall off. So I wonder how much glue they actually used to glue this in. Anyway, I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so this is really weird. I was just gonna clean this up a little bit and then we were gonna continue our work, but then I found this weird thing here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but the neck is dark right here. And it might not come across in the video, but what I think that is, I think that's resin. I think this is originally carved like both sides the same, and then they just decide, oh well, this is a left-handed, we'll just fill it in and make it like that. I could be wrong, but that to me looks a lot like there's a blob of resin under here. We'll take the heat gun and we'll start removing some of this paint and we'll take a closer look, because now I'm actually really interested in like how this is created. I'm almost feeling like some sort of detective or something. Like maybe I should, I don't know, like let people come here with their cheap guitars and I take them apart and fix them and make them better and dissect them to look for crazy stuff or something. I don't know. Feels kind of fun to like see what kind of weird solutions people have in their guitar building. Yeah, so let's take the heat gun now. Okay, so let's heat this up and remove it and see what happens. And hopefully we don't destroy the entire neck. Yeah, as you can see, hopefully you can see, I'll take you in for a closer look, as in pose. That is definitely not, oh fuck. That is definitely not wood. That's some sort of resin of some sort. I don't know if you can see that, but that's definitely resin. Okay, so I've been working on this neck for a bit now, removing a bunch of the collars and stuff, and here you can see the scarf joint. At least I can, I don't know if you can. And then when I get down here, I can get a closer look at this. I planed this down so I would have a little bit more here, but that whole piece also fell off really easy. I just poked a little bit at it. You can see here where I came in, and that whole part just basically fell off. And it's kind of like, did they actually even glue this neck in? I'm starting to wonder, or if it was just lacquer that held it in place. I mean, I knew it was like glue, but I've never seen so little glue. But here you can see just a big dark blob of resin, basically, that they've just put in there to make the neck have this asymmetrical neck joint so that you can get up here with your hand and still have this round over. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Hopefully I'll put the neck in somewhere so that I can sand this away. I haven't really looked at that yet, but I think that these two woods will go neatly together. I still have the headstock here to remove, but you've seen how I did the back, so I'll be back in a minute once I've done that. And then basically all we have to do is sand this neck, because it's a little bit rough to feel right now. Okay, so I'm back again, because I found another thing with this neck that is kind of weird. When I had lacquer on it, this joint looked perfectly fine. It's kind of hard, you can't really see in there, but it looks okay. But now I can see that they've just put a piece of tape in there. All of this is it's just tape. And there isn't actually like a real access to the truss rod. I mean, you can have it look like this. There's nothing real wrong with it, but to just tape it over. I mean, come on. I wonder if this is one of those guitars that would break the day the warranty goes out or something. But anyway, now the neck is basically done. Now we just have to do some work to fit them together. Okay, so now the neck is basically done. I have some things I have to sit and think about a bit and measure out, like how am I gonna join this to the body. I wasn't expecting this blob to be there, and I don't know. Maybe I'll cut a tenon that is in a bit, you know, just to make it go into the body. Basically make this a long tenon, but that is, you know, thinner on both sides, just so it can go into the body a little bit nicer. I don't know. But it's basically like, here's the body. You're gonna get better pictures later. But here's the body, and the pickguard is gonna sit something like that, I suppose. And then the neck too, you know. And I think it's gonna look really nice. But I think that's that for this video. I need to do some measurements and think a bit about what I'm gonna do. And then we're gonna have to sand everything. I don't know if I'm gonna film sanding it. I might skip that part because, I mean, for you to see that, it's basically just my hands moving back and forth. So, but I don't know. Anyway, I've got some things to do to prepare for the next video. So I'll see you in that one. And, you know, stay awesome and cool. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. So if you want to, you could click like and subscribe. And I would appreciate it. Talk to me in the comments below if you want to. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.